You know, it's been hard to watch the Canucks today. It doesn't even feel real, the fact that they played a game against the Dallas Stars, because the trade fallout, the expectations for the return, and the situation as a whole, everything kind of culminated up to this, right? Like, we are now sitting in a post-JT Miller Vancouver Canucks world. And even on the Sportsnet broadcast, here I'm watching what would normally be a broadcast of, oh, here are the highlights, here are the goals, here's who scored, here's everything. Nobody's talking about that. Who cares about the game? The game is secondary as to the JT Miller trade, which went down minutes before the Vancouver Canucks played off against the Dallas Stars. One thing's for sure, though. Victor Mancini, that damn defenseman coming back over to Vancouver from New York, there's no way he can be worse than Noah Juulsen, right? Ay. Let's talk briefly about the game, and then talk about some observations with this team, how they had performed without JT, and just some of the extra things. So Vancouver loses this game 5-3 against Dallas. The Canucks succumb 5 goals against on only 16 shots, which is not good in the slightest. I get it, 2 of those goals were empty net goals, which means that the Canucks actually lost this game to an empty net goal. The Roope Hintz empty netter was the game winner, unfortunately. But Vancouver did claw back to get 2 goals in the final few minutes of the game, with another Jason Robertson empty netter on top of that. 5-3 is the score here for Dallas, and I think the tale of the tape here with this game can just boil down to special teams. The Vancouver Canucks were 1 for 5 on the power play in this game. The one, by the way, coming with 2 minutes to go in the third period. But even though they were in a spot where they scored a power play goal, the opening portions of the game did not see Vancouver capitalizing in the way that they should have. And I say should have because the Canucks, on a JT Miller-less power play, actually looked really good in the first 3-ish power play moments that they had. They had a few early calls. Dumba, Capobianco, these guys went to the box multiple times. In the first 2 periods, Vancouver had some really good movement. They had some really good opportunities. I don't want to necessarily say that they got goalied by Jake Oettinger, but the fact that Oettinger is as good as he is certainly made the Canucks' job a little bit more difficult than it could have been had they were playing against a goalie not named Oettinger. The Canucks could not capitalize on their special teams when it mattered, when they needed to capitalize on them. Despite moving the puck well and despite getting shots and opportunities, despite having 3 shots on multiple of these power plays, they still did not get it done. And I think it's going to be a big adjustment for this team to learn how to work with things without JT Miller, because obviously he holds on to the puck so much on the man advantage. We know that Quinn Hughes is every second pass, but every third pass usually is JT Miller. So he always has had an impact on this Canucks power play. It's how he had scored 100 points last year. And with Vancouver being in a spot where they're forced to rotate the puck a little bit more, cycle it more, rather than just giving it to Miller and Hughes and having them go back and forth with each other, now they're forced to just kind of skate around, go down low a little bit, go rink wide, pass a little bit more, and for the most part, I think it worked. They just weren't able to beat Oettinger. Meanwhile, the Dallas Stars, they scored on a power play to make it 2-1 in the second period. Jason Robertson giving the Stars the 2-1 lead. At a point in the game where Dallas only had 9 shots on goal, they were up 2-1 in this span, despite the Canucks having 20 shots. The Canucks were the better team for, I'd say, 40 minutes of this game. They just could not capitalize, and Dallas were able to capitalize. They had fewer opportunities for sure, but they made the most out of it. First goal of the game, Oskar Beck. He ends up taking a pass out in front that deflects off of a skate, and then Beck is there to settle it down and shoot it up over Thatcher Demko's shoulder. It's a really nice play in tight for the young Dallas Star. Not necessarily a goal that you want to see the goaltender give up, but then again, it was kind of a broken play. You can't really blame him too hard for that one. Making it 1-1 though in the second period, you had Conor Garland on a really nice passing play from Phil Hronek up to Nils Höglander. 2-on-1 ensues, and Höglander, instead of taking the shot, goes cross crease, backdoor to Conor Garland, who ends up having to drag his right foot back in order to make the shot work because he was a little bit too fast and a little bit close to the goal line. He had to pull everything a little bit further behind in order to get the puck to go through Jake Oettinger. 1-1 game, tie game, and then with 4 minutes to go in the second period, you had Jason Robertson making it 2-1 Dallas on the Stars' man advantage. It's a nice passing play here by the Stars. You had Matt Duchene on the right side of the goal, going to the left side of the goal, Wyatt Johnston, and then he throws it back into the middle for Jason Robertson, who's able to beat Demko. You don't really want to see that kind of a goal go in, but hey, it's a power play. The Stars were moving the puck well. Jason Robertson had a night, and it's 2-1 Dallas. In the third period, Noah Juulsen made a really bad pinch in the offensive zone, and the Stars were able to quickly take advantage of that. Roope Hintz ends up getting some sort of a breakaway. Juulsen is way out of position. He pinched in too hard. He wasn't able to catch himself and come back to defend properly. Hintz on a breakaway with his speed. It's tough to go out there and stop him, and he beats Thatcher Demko in tight. You would prefer to see Demko make the 5-hole save, though. 5-hole is kind of one of the more taboo areas for a goaltender to let in a puck on an open chance, but hey, Roope Hintz got it done in the backhand, makes it 3-1. Hintz then on the empty net makes it 4-1 before Jake DeBrusk, Jason Robertson, and Carson Soucy end up scoring in the final 2 minutes of the game. Lots of goals here at the end. I saw a lot of people freaking out on the Yahoo Fantasy app saying, hey, wait a minute, like, Jake Oettinger, please stop letting in goals. That is not what we wanted. Jake DeBrusk, his power play goal was assisted by Quinn and Elias, so there you go. EP40, Quinn Hughes getting points. DeBrusk able to shove the puck in. There were multiple opportunities, I would say, that the Canucks just kind of unluckily weren't able to bury. Jake DeBrusk himself had another opportunity that very well could have been a goal before he scored his actual goal. And then you had yourselves the extra ones as well. Jason Robertson, empty netter, and then Carson Soucy gets his second on the season with 4 seconds to go in the third period. Assisted by Phil DiGiuseppe and Dan Heinen, it is just kind of a nothing shift, a nothing goal, a stat padding goal, mind you. But ultimately, Quinn Hughes in this game also was hurt, and he wasn't able to play as much as he normally would have in the third period. The Canucks had power play opportunities, the Canucks had 6-on-5 opportunities, and Quinn just wasn't himself. You can see he ended up taking some time out and leaving the Canucks bench. He eventually came back and took the ice back in limited shifts. He looked really frustrated because he would leave the ice early, and you could see on the bench he was kind of hunched over and he didn't look all too well. Quinn, man, we gotta hope that this guy is fine. Obviously, you don't want to see him put himself in any super vulnerable spot, like, hey, playing extra minutes in a game where you're losing when you kind of don't really need to. But coming off fresh off of the NHL's Player of the Week title for the previous week, Quinn Hughes is certainly in a pretty difficult spot, needing to lead this team and being the engine that stirs the drink, all without the guy whom he would pass it to every other time on the power play in JT Miller. If this dude ends up getting hurt and we end up seeing more of that top pairing of Tyler Myers and Philip Hronek, then I'm going to be very upset. Imagine losing out on JT Miller and then the very next day you lose out on Quinn Hughes too. That would be terrible. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Vancouver Canucks playing off against the Dallas Stars here today. I don't really think this is the biggest story of the night. We're going to be talking about the trade still. We could also talk about more trade ideas because that has been floated around in this market as well. It's still early on, guys. It's 7:46 p.m. here in Vancouver. Elias Pettersson is taking the podium now. They're most likely asking him questions about JT Miller's departure. And ultimately, if Elias Pettersson does not turn things around himself, I know he had a point in this game, so I think he's okay, but if he doesn't turn things around, then, buddy, you're next. Say hello to Columbus for us. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Canucks and the Dallas Stars. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99, and bye.